rise and shout. It is time for What's Trending.
I got many dreams. I got plenty things that I want to see. Will I put that on me? Yeah, I got many dreams. I got plenty things that I want to see. Will I put that on me?
All right, we're still waiting on the Big 12 schedule.
Right. We thought we'd have it yesterday.
We'd have it Thursday, and then the league told us it's going to be a couple more weeks. So I don't know if that means the end of next week or the week following. But so the wait continues. But we're thinking BYU 7-5. A lot of people are disappointed about that. Thought it'd be a much better year. You and I thought they'd be much better. But 7-5 next year. If we were sitting here 1 year ahead, would you take 7-5? Like lock it down today if you were guaranteed 7-5 next year?
Well, I like to see the games played, but if I would be happy with 7-5 next year, as I've looked at who's in the league, and Tom Holmoe, when you sat down with Tom, said he knows who BYU plays next season. So he knows who's home and who's on the road. He just doesn't know in what order yet, and we know the preseason schedule. I would actually be okay with a 7-win season in a bowl game next year as they transition in.
Well, think about it. It would mean you win the first two games, Sam Houston and Southern Utah. Then you're playing 10 straight P5s, including Arkansas.
Right.
On the 16th.
At Arkansas.
At Arkansas. But you know what? Liberty went and beat Arkansas there. BYU,
True.
If they have their head on, they should be able to go in there and contend for that game. But they got to win 5 of those 10. Which 5 do you think they'll win?
This is the hard part. So as we were getting ready for the show, I started to think through, if I put a schedule together in my mind, and I put one together, maybe these guys home, these guys away, with those 3 preseason, and I started to go down and make check marks where I'm like, this is an obvious win. And I only made 2 check marks. That's not good, right?
Now, you know you're going to get at least 4 home games.
I say Sam Houston and Southern Utah are guaranteed wins, right?
So give me 5 more.
And then, like, here's my mock schedule. Arkansas on the road is not mock. We know that, right?
Right.
That's not an automatic win, right? So I'm saying home. This is wishful, right? Oklahoma, Kansas, Houston, and Oklahoma State. Both Oklahoma schools at home, okay? I'm saying
if those are the 4 home games, how many of those 4 do they win?
Okay, I don't know that I could put a check mark on any. I'd say Kansas, possibly, but they've been really good this year. Houston, BYU's beaten before. But where I just go, no, that's an automatic win. Not one.
Yeah, there's no automatic.
Not one. So here's who I'm saying away. At Iowa State, at Kansas State, at Cincinnati, at Baylor. What? And
pick 5 wins out of those you just ruled off.
Not one single one of those is an automatic check mark. And then the teams I don't have them playing this year, I don't have them at Texas, Texas Tech, Central Florida,
Cincinnati,
or West Virginia. I had them in Cincinnati. And I just did 4 away and 4 on the road. You actually have to come up with 1 more game out of that group to either play at home or away.
So let's say I would take, Iowa State, Cincinnati. They got a new coach.
Okay.
Houston.
Okay.
Here.
You got them to 5 now because you already said Sam Houston and Southern Utah.
Right. One of the, not Oklahoma State or Oklahoma, if you have them here at home.
They can get one of those?
One of those in one of those great spectacular nights.
So you've got them to 6 now.
To 6. Now they got to go find another one. Kansas State's playing in the Big 12 championship tomorrow, so they're not at the bottom. I'm not sure where you can find it.
Yeah, and like I said, I put together 11 because I said, well, let's say 4 home, 4 away, and then we don't know if BYU is going to play 5 league games at home or 5 league games on the road. So one of those other teams we'd have to plug in there too. And if you take Texas, Texas Tech, Central Florida, West Virginia, are any of those just automatic wins?
No automatics. But you'd like to think that BYU can defend its home field. LaVell Edwards Stadium is just different enough from all the other ones. It's a tough place to come in and play and win. So not everyone's going to bring their A game.
So let's say that Central Florida pops on and it's a home, and BYU plays 7 home games.
think we beat Central
I think they beat Central Florida at home. So I would say Sam Houston, Southern Utah, one of the Oklahomas, Kansas, Houston, Central Florida, and then on the road, maybe they get Cincinnati
or Baylor.
So that's why when you say, would you just take 7-5?
I would take 7-5.
I go, this is a whole different deal. and are BYU fans ready for this much of a different deal? Now, if Jaron Hall comes back and Puka Nacua comes back, which is doubtful on both, right? Mm-hmm. But if both of those guys came back, I might be a little more bullish. I might say, hey, you know what?
We'll defend the home
It's not a reload year. It's a year where all the talent's coming back, especially at quarterback, and I think that's huge. When you got a returning starter at quarterback, I think that's typically good for a couple of wins, right? That's why we were so disappointed this year.
Yeah.
That the way they started, but remember, they had a 4-game streak where Jaron Hall was injured, right? And with Jaron Hall out, I believe with 100% healthy Jaron Hall the entire season, that BYU doesn't lose those 4 games. I think they lose 2 of them. And I think they get Notre Dame with 100%.
And they get East Carolina.
And they get East Carolina.
And even Arkansas would have been a different
game. So that's why I put so much value, and that's why everybody's so disappointed until you really think about that. Now, Jaron's never used that as an excuse. Kalani's never used that as an excuse. But we watched that he wasn't quite the same. And it's the most important position in football.
Yeah, the throws weren't the same.
Is a quarterback position, especially at BYU with the offense that they run. And so if BYU had Jaron Hall coming back next year, then I'd probably I'd feel way more comfortable saying 8 or 9, right?
What if you were coming back? How many?
If I was coming back, we would win 10. Because we'd be playing in the WAC if it was me.
Here's the greater question. Is Cougar Nation, and you and I have been out and about in Cougar Nation for 30-some years, is Cougar Nation ready to have a bumpy road? And you know what? A lot of those could be all of a sudden 4 and 8, 3 and 9.
Yeah, I feel like the bar has got to be different, right? So and BYU should be in a position when they get in the league with the resources, and now they're recruiting as a P5, that after this first couple of years, they should be able to recruit in a fashion that allows them to have what I would call reloading years and then veteran years, right? On veteran years, the expectation should be 8 or 9 wins, right? When they have veterans coming back at the key positions. On years when they're reloading, and I don't know that BYU should ever be in reloading, I think bowl eligibility is the goal on a reloading year, which means 6 wins, right? So 6 or 7 on the reloading years, 8 or 9 on veteran years, and then once in a while.
Magic happens.
So TCU is a perfect example of that this year. This is all of the stars coming into alignment, all the veterans at all the key positions, some really amazing young talent that's been plugged in. They move the ball on anybody in the country, and here they are in a college football playoff, right? If they win. If they win in that Big 12 championship game, which I expect them to do. But that's not TCU every year.
No, nor has it been like any year.
No.
I mean, they were good back in the day, but that's when Mountain West wasn't considered legit.
So those years are every once in a while, and those are magical seasons when you're in a league like this. So that's what I'm preparing my mind for. The question that you ask is, are BYU fans prepared for that?
I don't know if they are.
I hope that they understand the opportunity to see this list of teams that we just talked through coming through here for home games. Every game's going to matter. Every game's going to be a big game in the league.
As long as we're not on the Kansas plan. It took them like 80 years to field a team this year. Then their quarterback got hurt, and then
Yep. And I don't think that BYU has to go the Kansas route. Nor do I think they need to go the Utah route in the Pac-12. Utah went right from the Mountain West Conference into the Pac-12. I feel like this transition for BYU from the Mountain West Conference to independence, where they're playing schedules that aren't quite Big 12 schedules, but close. Years where they've played 7 P5s and 6 P5s. And in the last couple years, they've done much better against that type of competition, has better prepared BYU to maybe have a couple of a year transition and not take quite as long as Utah now is. In the last 4 or 5 years, they've been the best team in the Pac-12.
Right.
They've been the most consistent best team. I think USC is the best team in that league right now, and I think UCLA is right there now too, and Oregon's right back again. But there was a period of time where Utah was the best team, but it took Utah a long time to get to that point.
This is why it's important that Tennessee paid $2 million to get off of BYU.
Yeah, would you want them instead of Southern Utah?
They've got to have, we'll call them cupcakes. You have to have 2 cupcakes. And maybe a third will be a P5. Maybe Utah, and they're not a cupcake, but that's a good game. That's winnable. But then you look at the gauntlet and you go, we have to be no worse than 2-1 by the 4th week of September, or we're in big trouble.
Yeah, and I think every year you try to schedule 3 wins in that preseason, unless there's a game of national interest, like a Utah game or an opportunity to play a Florida or somebody like that, an SEC team or something like that. That's a big game. Then you take that game on a particular year, and you hope that you take that game because those are sometimes short notice. Hey, do you want to come play in the Kickoff Classic next year? And you know you've got your quarterback coming back and you're stacked, and you go, yeah, we want that game this year. So you got to schedule 3 wins if you possibly can. And people wonder why the SEC does that. Well, this is why.
This is why.
This is why. So
very interesting.